Okay, so this video's title is a little bit of clickbait, but there's a lot of truth in it. I've been saying I'll never have kids since I was about 13, and while my stance is loosened at 31, the needle is still heavily in that direction. And this isn't to say that I don't like kids, because I do. I just like other people's kids. You get to make them laugh and play with them, and then you can give them back. So what do I say when people ask me when I'll have kids? It started when I was 13 and I had to watch a classroom full of 4th graders. One 45-minute lunch period with those little Chuckies did it for me. But my stance solidified a bit more about 10 years later when I was a youth sports photographer. You know, the people that take those posed soccer and football and baseball pictures of your little rugrats. But just in observing the different age groups and how they operate, wrangling each team for the group photo, and learning how to get the little ones to sit still, the older girls to get off their phones, and the older boys to stop acting like idiots, I'm simplifying the experience, but just know that every shoot made me want a vasectomy. I remember having a conversation with my family during one of the holidays. My mom pulled a woe is me, meaning that she'll only have the one grandchild because she can't count on me for any. And then it was like a record scratch, like, what? You don't want kids? No, not really. But the Bible says be fruitful and multiply. Are you going against God? First off, context, that was for Adam and Eve. Secondly, it says be fruitful first. Most of y'all tend to skip over that part and some need to double back. But everybody has kids, it's what you do. I'm gonna pull a parental excuse for this one. If everybody jumped off a bridge, would you do it too?
Don't worry, I'll wait.
Children are a sign of wealth. Not according to my wallet, they're not. Don't you want to carry on the family name? For what? Y'all are fertile enough without me. Seriously though, my maternal grandmother had 9 kids, 33 grandkids, 59 great-grandkids with 1 on the way, and 9 great-great-grand. And these are just the ones we know about. In the end, they ran out of reasons and my mind wasn't changed that day. And they aren't the only ones that can't fathom how some people just don't want to conceive children. One woman wrote an op-ed about how when she told her doctor she didn't want kids, her doctor sent her to a therapist, saying that they needed to make sure that her aversion to having children was not the result of a fear that they could cure. Excuse you? And this isn't to say that I couldn't change my mind in the future, but the way that it's looking right now, I'm about 99.9999999% sure it won't. And here's why. Reason number 1, kids are expensive. Wages have remained flat for the most part for the last few decades, while the cost of everything else has increased. Food, gas, utilities, insurance, car maintenance, and then you add a kid in the mix? You have Pampers, wipes, cribs, strollers, more food, custom soaps and shampoos, baby proofing, medical, dental, vision, parenting classes. Then they get older and outgrow entire wardrobes every 3 months, while you get to come out of pocket for soccer uniforms and Girl Scout dues.
Everything! They eat everything!
I didn't even mention childcare costs, those alone are birth control. I know several married couples with kids where one of them stays home because it's more cost effective than both working and paying for childcare. Reason number 2, I don't have patience. I've never been the type to just roll around and play with kids for hours. Even when I was a kid, I was the one in my own little world with my books and my tape player. Even though I've gotten better as I've gotten older, you still only get about 30 good minutes from me before PBS Kids goes on and my phone comes out. And let's face it, most kids act like tiny drunk adults anyway. I have 4 nephews, 9, 8, 7, and 1. And sometimes I'll look at the older 3 like, how have you not cracked your skull open yet? Reason number 3, I am overprotective to a fault. I've accepted the fact that I'm not the fun uncle. I can make them laugh, but somebody else can take them to the park. That being said, I am the first one ready to cut somebody over them, or any one of my friends or family members for that matter. So I can only imagine how so out of pocket I would be with a kid.
Noah, give it back.
No.
Noah, give it back.
No!
I said give it back now. Noah! Larry, what the hell are you doing?
Larry!
Larry, you can't just... Oh,
Larry! Oh, are you alright? How did you...
Larry!
Not overprotective to the point where they can do no wrong in my eyes because I'm the first one to check them. But in the hypothetical chance that someone is bullying them, I'm going to jail. Bullying is one of my triggers and really the only one that will have me ready to fist fight. And it's only gotten worse with the rise of technology. When I was coming up, bullying stayed at school. It didn't follow me home. Now with smartphones and social media, it follows these kids 24/7. I couldn't imagine growing up in today's world. With the temper I had as a kid, I would have probably ended up in juvie. Which brings me to reason number 4, the state of the world. I'm only speaking for myself, but outside of the divine intervention from God, Jesus, Mary, and JoJo, I wouldn't want to bring an innocent life into this chaos. You can turn on any news program and see how the world is losing its mind. Well, everyone except Fox News, those deal hosts can suck it.
Suck it. Suck it!
But from the political chaos in America and abroad to global warming, the death of the Great Barrier Reef to the disappearing ozone, the systemic racism and discrimination against people of color, the defunding of education to keep the masses stupid, breeding sick cultures like what we see all over the US with the alt-right. So why would I bring a life into this mess? Because society says so?
Well, that would have to be a no.
I cannot stress enough that this could change if I ever found that one woman that I wanted to marry and knock up. Then again, finding the woman I'd like to marry is like trying to find a needle in a haystack on the back of a truck doing 95 on the highway at 2 a.m.
Don't be so dramatic.
But this is how I feel at this moment in time. I felt this way for almost 20 years, but I am open to the possibility that it could change, especially if it's in God's will for me. But as for right now, he'd have to move me in that direction by force because there are way too many preventative measures out there for me to mess around and have an oops baby.